Hey, curious people, here's a fun fact for you. Your body is full of parts that we're told are super important, but it turns out not so much. You've probably heard the saying, you need every part of your body, they all have a purpose. Well, turns out that's not exactly true. Some body parts are like those old furniture pieces you keep in the attic. You don't really need them, but you haven't gotten around to tossing them out yet. In today's video, we're diving into 11 body parts you actually don't need to survive. That's right, your body is kind of like a well-stocked kitchen where a few items are just optional. Let's get into it and see which ones you can actually live without. First, appendix. Let's kick things off with the infamous appendix. We've all heard the jokes about it being the useless organ that causes trouble when it decides to go rogue and cause appendicitis. But the truth is, humans can live perfectly fine without it. In fact, some scientists believe it was originally there to help digest tough plant material, but as we evolved, it became pretty much redundant. So if your appendix decides to go on vacation, i.e., it bursts, you won't miss it at all. It's one of those things you can live without, like that one extra sock that always seems to disappear in the laundry. Second, wisdom teeth. Oh, wisdom teeth. Those pesky teeth that come in when you're in your late teens or early 20s, and then need to be pulled because they're either sideways, too big, or generally just annoying. Guess what? Wisdom teeth were useful to our distant ancestors who needed extra teeth to chew tough foods like raw plants and meat. But now, not so much. Most people don't need their wisdom teeth anymore, and they're actually more likely to cause problems than help. So if you've ever had a wisdom tooth pulled, don't worry. You're not missing out on anything important. 3. Tailbone, coccyx. This one's kind of wild. Humans don't have tails, right? But we do have a tailbone, also known as the coccyx. It's what's left of a tail our evolutionary ancestors once had. While it's useful for balance and some muscle attachment, it's not something you need to live. In fact, if you ever break your tailbone, ouch, it's a huge inconvenience, but it doesn't affect your life in any major way. So yeah, the coccyx is like that outdated feature on your phone. It's there, but it's not really doing much. 4. Body hair, for the most part. All right, body hair, I'm talking about things like chest hair, arm hair, and leg hair, is definitely optional. Sure, it might have been more useful back when we needed extra insulation in the wild or protection from the sun, but nowadays most people are just as comfortable rocking a smooth surface. Plus, there are some parts of our body that don't really need hair at all. You can live perfectly well without most of it, and if you're someone who loves the waxed look, you're not missing any essential function. So, if you've ever had a no-shave November moment, you know what I mean. 5. Pinky toe. All right, don't freak out. Yes, you can actually live without your pinky toe. While it does help with balance and walking, it's not a necessary part for mobility. People who lose their pinky toe can still walk, run, and do pretty much everything they did before. They just might have to retrain their balance a little. So next time you stub your toe and scream like it's the end of the world, just remember, you don't actually need it, even though it definitely hurts. Number 6, spleen. Your spleen might sound important, but it's actually one of those organs that can be removed without causing any major issues. The spleen helps filter blood and fight infections, but it's not essential to your survival. If it's removed, say due to injury or disease, other parts of your body, like the liver and bone marrow, will just pick up the slack. Sure, you might be a bit more susceptible to infections in the first few months after a spleen removal, but after that, you can go on living without it. It's like one of those apps you never use but feel obligated to keep on your phone just in case. 7. Gallbladder. The gallbladder is one of those organs people forget about until something goes wrong. Its job is to store bile, which helps digest fats, but guess what? If it stops working or gets too full of gallstones, you can have it removed and life will go on without it. The liver takes over the bile production and digestion process, and you won't even notice the difference. So, if you've ever had your gallbladder removed, don't sweat it. Your body's still running just fine. 8. Nictitating membrane, the third eyelid. Okay, this one might sound a bit crazy, but it's real. Humans once had a third eyelid called the nictitating membrane, which is still visible in some animals, like birds and reptiles. In humans, it's just a small fold of tissue in the corner of the eye. This membrane is believed to have helped keep the eye moist and protected, but since we've evolved, we don't really need it anymore. It's kind of like a forgotten relic, a body part that's there but doesn't really do anything anymore. Your eyelids do a perfectly fine job of keeping your eyes safe, so this third eyelid, completely optional. 9. Extra ribs, cervical ribs. Did you know some people are born with extra ribs? While most people have 12 pairs of ribs, some have a 13th pair, a cervical rib, that grows above the collarbone. These extra ribs aren't necessary for survival, and most people don't even realize they have them. They can occasionally cause issues like nerve compression, leading to pain in the neck and shoulders, but they're not essential. If you happen to have one, don't worry. It's just an extra bonus rib, like a bonus feature on your phone you don't use. 10th, molar teeth. third set. Some people are born with a set of molars that just never come in, and guess what? It doesn't really affect their ability to chew or eat. Our ancestors may have needed those extra molars to grind down tough foods like raw plants, but in modern times, most of us can survive without that third set. Evolution is all about efficiency, so our bodies have ditched the need for those extra teeth over time. You'll do just fine with the ones you have, and if you don't get a third set, no problem. You can still eat pizza without issues. Number 11, uvula. The uvula, that tiny dangly bit of flesh hanging down from the back of your throat. You've probably noticed it when you look in the mirror and say, ah, but have you ever wondered if it's actually necessary? Well, turns out it's another one of those body parts that you can live without. The uvula helps with things like speech and swallowing, and it's also involved in the production of saliva. Some people also think it plays a role in snoring. Great, right? But while it might help out a bit in those areas, you can live just fine without it. In fact, there are cases where the uvula is surgically removed, especially for people who suffer from chronic snoring or certain medical conditions. And life goes on without any major issues. So if you ever feel like the uvula is just a bit extra, don't worry, you can totally survive without it. And there you have it, 11 body parts you don't actually need. Whether it's the appendix, wisdom teeth, or even your uvula, your body is full of things that we can live without. Sure, some of them might serve tiny roles here and there, but overall, the human body is incredibly adaptable and efficient. So remember, you might have some extra parts in the mix, but they're not as essential as you think. Embrace the parts that make you you, and don't worry about the ones that could be left behind, and stay curious.